It's the people around you that have to really take the hit.
Why would anyone want to put themselves through -5-degree temperatures?
People would say to me, you know, oh, you're lucky. And I wasn't lucky. I had worked for it.
My name is Martin Robert Hall, and apart from being a sports fan, I'm also a specialist in motivation and sports psychology. In the early 90s, a team of psychologists from Berlin studied the practice habits of young violinists. By the age of 20, the elite performers had averaged more than 10,000 hours of practice, more than double that of the less capable. In the next 12 minutes, which represents 0.002% of the 10,000 hours, we ask the question, what does it take to make the elite sacrifice?
Here we go! Here.
My father died when I was very young, when I was 4. And I think it was my mother who gave me, she had tremendous determination to keep farming, to keep going. And we all had our jobs. We all knew what our responsibilities were on the farm.
My parents were unbelievable. You know, my dad was a rugby guy when I was 6 years of age, and I absolutely loved it. You know, he was involved with one certain club. They didn't have an underage structure at the time, and their closest, most bitter rivals had a great underage structure. So he sent me over the road to the rival club, gave me that opportunity to get into an unbelievable setup. All of these opportunities, I've no doubt, contributed to who I am today.
Our next athlete started on her journey a little later in life. Has this hindered her chances of success?
Said to one of my friends, oh, I think I'm going to give wheelchair racing a go. And she just couldn't stop laughing. She was like, Carly, this is you we're talking about. You don't do sport. You go out at night and you drink bottles of Prosecco and 20 fags. You don't do anything. And I was like, I know, I really think I could do it. All my brothers and sisters would go to football club and were very involved in sport as kids, and I wasn't. Even at school I didn't do sports day because I hated it. It was not fun to come last all the time against able-bodied kids.
Even those that have been practicing for many years still feel as though they haven't done enough and are always looking to improve. Jimmy Kelly from Manchester is in the process of regaining his WBO super welterweight title.
I don't think it was a natural, or maybe I was, but it just took a little bit for things to gel. But I just always did work hard, and I always did put in those hours. I'm 23, I've been boxing for 19 years, and I'll still come home from training and I'll say to Jahan, like, oh, I've been practicing this today. I've moved to a new trainer. It's like I started from the bottom, and again, I'm working hard for that. I think the gym that I was at last time, when I first turned obviously professional, it was like I was the new kid and I was at the bottom of the pile. And over the years, I worked my way up to fight for a world title, and I was like the main lad in the gym. It must have been like just a bad house in the area, because it was, you know, it was a bit rough where it was a bit run down, and it was a repossession. So yeah, we just pulled it apart, didn't we, from like scratch, all new plaster, new everything.
Coaches and support staff also subscribe to the principle of putting in the hours. Giles Hegarty, Director of Rugby at Macclesfield, talks to us about the sacrifices he makes.
Since I've had kids, you become more aware of what sacrifice is. Not necessarily sacrifice for yourself, but sacrifices that the other people around you make. It's the people around you that have to really take the hit, and you have to make sure that you acknowledge that fact. You have to make sure that they know it, they know that you know. My wife is a very understanding woman. We've got a 21-month-old daughter, we've got a baby due any day now. So it's tough for her. You okay? She's an incredible woman, very, very tolerant.
As well as Giles being an expectant father, so is Jimmy. What will being a dad mean to him, and will it affect his pursuit of success?
Your dad's always your first hero, innit? And I think it'd just be nice to have someone to look up to us like that. No one be able to look after, like I said, the baby. But like I said, I'm dead excited. I can't wait. In the September that she's on the verge of giving birth, and I might be fighting that. But like I said, it's just for the better. It's not like I want to be doing, I want to be about there and I want to be going through it all with you and, you know, being there for you, but if I've got to go and make money, I've got to go and make the money, haven't I?
Where you and I might see going without the odd glass of wine as a sacrifice, we find a different mindset in the athlete.
The sacrifices that we make to be a professional rugby player, they're challenging, but for me, as time has gone on and I realise, I suppose, that it's a relatively short career in the grand scheme of things, my whole lifestyle has changed because of what I do. And if I was playing professional rugby or not, you know, whenever the day comes that I retire, I will continue my lifestyle and to be healthy for day-to-day living, not just for playing rugby.
Well, the social life is just very different now, so it's very refined. A little bit of shopping on my rest day. Even then, I can't really exert myself too much. I can't do too much on my rest day because my rest day is meant to be my rest day. My career, it's still there. You know, I'm very lucky that I've been given a sabbatical and it's a paid one. So I haven't got the worry this year of trying to get myself through the sport. Before racing, my life was my career. For me, that was my ambition. I took it as seriously as I take Rio, but because Rio is obviously a much bigger priority, I've had to sack, you know, my ambitions a little bit on the career side and focus on Rio.
Focus and determination are prevalent in all athletes. Although Carly may be physically impaired, parallels can be drawn mentally with Willie John McBride, one of the most physical rugby leaders to have worn the Lions jersey.
I got to the club and then got to the province and said, right, I've got to be better still. I want to play for Ireland. And I think it was that determination that came through from my background that gave me that go to try and be the best. I remember I would be selected for Ireland or I would be selected for the Lions and you know, people would say to me, you know, oh, you're lucky, you're lucky. And I wasn't lucky. I had worked for it. You know, I believe anything that's worthwhile in life, you've got to earn it. And I believe that I earned it because these guys were probably sitting in a pub or out enjoying themselves while I was training, while I was out running or doing my training. I wasn't lucky, I worked for it.
Elite performers have amazing support networks. But how would you cope if something happened to those closest to you?
I was only 18 at the time. And I know my mum was ill and she was just said, you know, just do what you want to do. So if you feel like that's what you want to do, just like go and do it. But my mum was getting worse and stuff like that. I wanted to box and I thought, I wanted to see me box professional at least once because I knew she was going to like pass away and that. And like I said, that wasn't to be, it's just went too soon. But as she just said, just whatever you want to do in life, do it. Said if you want to box, if you want to go uni, but do that, but just make sure you do your best and it's what you want to do. I used to pack my bag and with my mum. My mum was obviously like, right, you know, you're going away tomorrow, you're going here. So like, let's make sure you're ready so you're not rushing in the morning. There was a gap of about a year when I broke my hand. I was looking after my mum, but I was still training. It was like, I'd stay overnights at the hospital on the Lilo, and then I'd be up at 6 and then I'd go training, and then I'd train all day and I'd come back and sit with her and stay the night again. The day she died in the morning, and I went training in the evening.
Routines help athletes to control the controllables. Jimmy stuck to his routine through the most difficult of circumstances.
What was difficult for me initially was before a fight, because we are so close, Jimmy needs to be on his own and he needs to zone out, and I have to completely back off 100% to allow him to get into that sinking zone. That was difficult at first because we're used to being around each other all the time, aren't we?
Yeah.
And even the day on the fight, I don't speak to him the morning of the fight, really.
Sacrifices in the pursuit of success may well be infectious. Is Jahan even aware of her selflessness in her support of Jimmy? Where you and I may get closer to a partner, Jahan intuitively does the opposite.
I send him a good luck text message and then that's it. My life has changed, you know, in a sense that I am quite an outgoing, sociable person, and you know, on a Friday or a Saturday night, you know, I used to socialise with friends and do this, that and the other, but you know, since I've met Jimmy, I've found sort of entertainment in other areas, like we'll have cook a nice meal at home and then we'll watch a nice film and then, you know, we'll have an early night, anything to get him to where he needs to be, really.
If I didn't have the ambition to get on the start line, I would have not really been that bothered about what I ate for a lot longer. A lot of my sacrifices that I've made for the Rio dream have been the right sacrifices anyway for my health. Why would anyone want to put themselves through -5-degree temperatures in lycra tights? I mean, seriously, it's freezing cold. Why would anyone do it?
Being an elite performer takes so much sacrifice, but not for the elite athlete. You and I see that far more than they do. So if you want to start emulating your favourite sports stars, can you begin by giving up some of those things that you care about and make the elite sacrifice?
If you're not on form or things aren't right that day, you might end up in hospital like Nick Blackwell did and other fighters in the past have. You might not come home at all. So I think it's every time you go to the ring, you take that risk.
I remember captaining the 74 tour. I remember the second test at Loftus Versfeld. And I remember being in the dressing room and talking to the team. And I remember leading out that team that day. And the sun shining, hard grounds, I don't know, 50, 60, 70,000 people. And I knew that I had 14 guys coming behind me that were not going to lose. And that was the greatest feeling. I will never forget that feeling. It really was outstanding.
When we punched in for that try, for the fourth try, I got quite emotional. I'm still quite emotional now.
All right, well done, well done.
Because it's bloody hard work, and you're invested so emotionally in all of it, as well as obviously mentally and physically. 10:30 last night, I'm sat there in the dark with my little boy snoring and my wife asleep, my little girl asleep in the other room, and I'm watching a preview of Chester and making notes and that sort of thing, because that's the way it's got to be done. And there's a lot of time goes in and a lot of sacrifice, and we've talked before about
Put it on her.
the impact it has on your family. And to be able to share today with my little girl, and it just means a lot. But at the same time, you've got to suck that up, because it means absolutely nothing if we don't stay up next year.